In scriptures, the human body is often referred to as the temple of God. Yet it is quite an uncommon privilege for any soul to attain this sacred abode that houses the divine, as it is truly a blessing to be reborn as a human being. On several occasions, Supreme Master Ching Hai has spoken about the rarity of this phenomenon.
To be reincarnated in the human world is hard. You have to have enough human quality. You have to have affinity with the parents, yeah, and with the society, with the people around which you were born. And very difficult. To be a human, you need some merit. You have done something good in the past in order to be able, yeah, to be able to pick a human birth.
As a living temple of God, the human body is fully equipped with miraculous wonders that can be awakened in those who are spiritually conscious and have complete faith in the Creator of all life. Anidia, Latin for fasting, is the human ability to live without food. Since time immemorial, there have always been individuals who can sustain themselves on prana, or the vital life force. Through the grace of the Providence, Initiates, people who follow a food-free lifestyle, can draw the energy from nature to nourish themselves.
They live on the chi, from the ground, or from the forest, and from the sun and from the air. They make use of all that. Or they live on love, on faith alone.
These individuals are known as breatharians, solarians, watarians or pranarians, and they come from all walks of life, from different cultures and all corners of the world. Indeed, the possibilities and miracles in this life as our benevolent Creator has designed for us are endless. We only need to connect within to recognize our abounding largesse as God's children. Supreme Master Ching Hai has lovingly recommended a weekly series on Supreme Master Television to introduce those individuals of the past and present who have chosen to live food-free on earth. May their spiritual stories enthrall you, may hearts be opened and horizons be expanded. We now invite you to join us for part 1 of our program, Jericho Sunfire, Transitioning to Breatharianism, on Between Master and Disciples.
This program discusses the possibility of breatharianism, or living without eating food, and is not a full instruction. For your safety, please do not attempt to cease eating without proper expert guidance.
Hello, joyous viewers. We're happy to have you with us today for this special series on the Breatharian personal fitness guru, Jericho Sunfire. Last time, our Supreme Master Television correspondent met up with Jericho at one of his training camps in Mexico. During the visit, Jericho shared with us his food-free lifestyle and how he evolved into becoming a breatharian. In this series, Jericho talks in depth about the process he went through to become a breatharian. Jericho's life-changing story began when he stopped eating cooked food and lived only on fruits.
It was while I was in Bristol that I went fruitarian, and that was a traumatic experience, to say the least. I would say, because even now I struggle to find the words to actually describe what happened, what the first moment was, but I woke up one day, it was a regular day, regular morning. And I just felt clogged up, bogged down, depressed. I couldn't figure out why. When it came to getting something to eat, I didn't want to do it at all. Something just wasn't right. And I tried to carry on with that morning, but I just couldn't do it. Something wasn't right. And basically what it came down to was I forced myself to eat, and I really didn't want to do it. I tried to think of why, what's going on, and just leave it, let it, ride out or something like that, but I just didn't want to do it. And so what I did was I just sat down and thought about things, and it just occurred to me that I just didn't feel good. I really didn't feel good, and I'm just sat there brainstorming as to why I don't feel good, and I was full of mucus. I couldn't even draw a full breath, because I had just so much waste up here. And I felt depressed, and this was something I was noticing that was happening slowly for a while. And I just started to think, because none of how I was feeling and was making any sense.
Instead of continuing to accept his current state of being and allowing the depression to consume him further, Jericho took matters into his own hands and tried something new.
I'm just looking in the mirror and I'm soul searching, and something just said, take a day off, go out and get some fruits, and for some reason that was just so appealing to me. So that's what I did. I just followed my intuition, and that's what I did. Went to the local Indian market. It was a huge store with fruits all around the world. And I got honeydews, I got grapes, I got a couple of mangoes, and I've always remembered this, I got some undried figs. And I cycled back home, and I devoured those like nobody's business. And it just felt fantastic. It felt so natural, like I've always been doing it. When in fact it was the opposite, I'd hardly ever had fruits. So heaven knows why I even wanted fruits in the first place, But like I say, it really rang alarm bells, because it was pretty much the first time I was aware of my own intuition and listening to it. And like I say, I felt fantastic. It was like a total breath of fresh air. It was just a total relief. And I could literally feel my body like, we don't have to put up with all that other stuff anymore.
Jericho loved what he was feeling so much that he tried it again the next day and began to experiment with different fruits from then on. His new diet met with initial success, but eventually he encountered his first challenge.
A whole week I did it for, and I had no cravings whatsoever for anything else. I just wanted fruits. Like after the 7 days, bang, detoxification hit. And I wasn't aware of any of this at all. I had read or flicked through maybe a raw book or something like that, but I really had no internet access to look up or do any research at that point. I remember ordering some real budget fruitarian magazines. They weren't even magazines, they were more like pamphlets. And before that, I didn't even realize fruitarianism existed. I thought I was the only one. I thought I made up the word, because I thought veganism, I'm eating fruits, that's fruitarianism.
What was it like for Jericho after 7 days of being a fruitarian? Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Between Master and Disciples will return in just a moment for our show on Jericho Sunfire, Transitioning to Breatharianism. Welcome back to today's Between Master and Disciples. Let's find out what happened to Jericho after he had been on a fruit diet for 7 days. Since Jericho didn't have any support group or information about the process of being a fruitarian, he learned as he went along, relying on his intuition to get him through the tough times, especially after the first 7 days of being a fruitarian.
The honeymoon period was over. Detoxification hit. Oh, I was out for 7 days, for 7 more days in bed with severe flu-like symptoms, and I didn't even know. To me, it was just flu. To me, it was just like, well, okay, I got flu. Oh, bad timing. You know, it wasn't even about detox. It wasn't even about cleansing. So I didn't know anything about that. So basically, after that, I did what everybody else does. I blame the fruits. Well, the fruits made me sick. The fruits made me get flu. You know, if fruits were so healthy, I wouldn't have got flu. So, you know, so I dipped back into the cooked foods, and again, that was confirmation for me that that was a wrong direction to go in. That was what was causing my problems in the first place. You know, because after feeling so great, I had felt minor improvements, you know, within myself. I felt slightly lighter. I felt more positive. I felt like weight was being lifted off me, you know. So when I went back to what I was normally eating, and the cooked and processed foods, all that came back real quick, you know. So that was confirmation for me that, okay, that, you know, I was right. That was the problem, and that's why I didn't want to eat, because it's like my body had just had enough.
As his body went through detoxification, it never occurred to Jericho to seek medical help for his condition. With courage and intuition, he carried on with his new diet, experimented with his body and what it could handle, and forged ahead to rid himself of his dependence on cooked food.
The tools I used to get through any given day, in the beginning I had none. In fact, the tools that I used to get through any given day was cooked food, you know. And through doing that, that's basically how I learned of our dependence on it as a drug. Man, I was sneaking out 2, 3 in the morning to get French fries, you know. God knows why I had to sneak. But I told myself, you know what, I'm gonna be a fruitarian, I'm gonna be a fruitarian, I'm gonna be a fruitarian. You know, but I'd break. And I'd be sneaking out. Like I'm sneaking out for myself, you know, to go get these fries. You know? And I would go on binges. And to the naked eye, people would say, well, you know, you got an eating disorder. Stop that fruit stuff, you know, and eat some proper food. But it was just, you know, the whole process of getting off a drug. And I was doing the same things as a drug addict would do. You know, or a recovering alcoholic, you know, that may have slipped back. Exactly the same thing, but we don't see cooked food as a drug.
The detoxification period was a humbling experience for Jericho. His pride and sense of self were severely challenged.
The most alarming thing for me was that I came from a tough childhood, you know, which went on to playing a tough sport, rugby league, at professional level. I played for my country as an amateur, you know, and that's no mean feat. And I signed professional, and I was playing against, you know, famous internationals from different countries, big name stars. And so I thought, you know, this fruitarian thing will be a breeze. No, it was the opposite, you know, and having to accept that it broke me down severely. It was a big hit on my ego. And I realized that willpower had nothing at all to do with it. Nothing at all to being successful. Because like I was saying, I was binging, and I was slipping back onto cooked food pretty much a lot, you know, and it had become a pattern. And at vital times, like I say, your mind's always one step ahead, and at vital times when your mind gets a little desperate, it'll play a trick on you. You know, and you'll end up finding yourself, you know, one minute you're strong as heck, next minute you're eating French fries or a large apple pie or whatever.
How did Jericho manage to make it through the detoxification process without any support system? Join us again next Sunday for part 2 of Jericho Sunfire, Transitioning to Breatharianism. Now, please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television for good people, good works. Coming up next, right after Noteworthy News, may heaven grace your life with an abundance of love and compassion.
For more information about Jericho Sunfire's personal fitness training program, please visit jerichosunfire.webs.com.
Fast you can. Come on, come on, come on. Excellent.
For more details, please visit www.suprememastertv.com/BMD.